welcome to CTD Interviews, a series of meetings with relevant professionals of the educational and business sector to talk about 21st century skills, coaching, training and development. Today we are going to talk about leadership in the educational sector with our guest speakers Rebecca Brown and Natasha Sturlese. Welcome Rebecca, welcome Natasha.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Rebecca and Natasha are continuing their family tradition, following their parents' footsteps. Rebecca is the manager at the British School of Trieste, and Natasha is the manager of International House La Spezia. Rebecca, Natasha, could you share with us a memory from your childhood describing a specific time in your parents' school?
Well, I actually have two very distinct memories as a kid in the school. There's a very happy one of when I was a toddler, so I must have been around 2 to 3 years old, and during a Christmas party. So it was a very it was a fun time. You know, there was Christmas, but there were children, free food, some presents, and that's a happy memory that I have. And then there's a second one, which is very, very different, and that's of me as a student in the school, because I started attending courses when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and that was absolutely no fun whatsoever. You know, I found it boring and horrible and didn't want to be here. So yeah, two very, very different memories of me as a kid.
I remember the buzzing atmosphere in the waiting room of the school. There was, you know, grannies and mummies and teachers running around wanting to do photocopies. And I used to stand on this chair near the photocopier, and I was allowed to press the green button for the photocopies. So, I was a little helper in the school. So that's one of the memories I have when I was a child.
When you were a teenager, did you ever think that one day you would be involved in running your family business?
I would say absolutely not. As a teenager, I had very different ideas. I remember I first wanted to be a vet. Then after coming back from uni, I wanted to be a journalist. So it definitely never crossed my mind to work for the family business. I was also, my constant mood as a teenager was conflict. So the idea of having to work with my dad was absolutely, you know, not happening ever.
I never thought I would have worked in my mother's school until it actually happened. It all happened very quickly, and yes, no, I didn't think I would work in the school. I did like the idea of working in that type of environment. That's something that grew on me throughout my childhood. But no, I didn't think I would run the school.
Can you remember the day when you thought that running your family business could become your future career? How did it make you feel?
Well, I don't think I ever had light bulb moment. After I came back from the UK, I actually had another job, and I started working for the school just for the extra money and to kind of keep myself busy. And I think it I kind of slowly fell into it. And I don't think there was a specific time where I thought about, okay, this is actually going to be my long-term job. So it happened almost without realizing. I started off working in the front office and slowly kind of built up all my competencies. Definitely when it did happen, and probably it wasn't that long ago, I really felt the weight of the responsibility, because you really feel you want to do a good job to fill, you know, your parents' shoes. Well, if I can add something to it, I remember there was a time when my dad, joking with his friends, his colleagues in equals, he used to kind of joke about the fact that sooner or later I would have kind of changed the locks and locked him out. And that was, you know, you start thinking, you know, it kind of suddenly strikes you that maybe that is going to be your future.
Yes, I worked side by side with my mother for more than 10 years. And I thought, you know, that was how it was going to be forever. So it was only when we went for we went to the bank together one day, and the lady who was serving us said, "Oh, is this your daughter?" And my mother said, "Oh yes, she's going to take over the management of the school soon." And it kind of, I started feeling a bit shaky, because I thought it would probably happen sooner or later, but it was something that I didn't consider happening so soon. So yeah, that's it.
Is there anything special that you learned from your parents? What impact does it have on your leadership?
Well, there's one thing that my dad repeated to me over and over and over again, and that is, say what you do exactly what you say. And that really, I think, shaped the professional that I am today. So he really taught me to be serious, hardworking, accountable, try and be as respectful as possible. And I would say punctual, which is something I'm still definitely working on, fair, rigorous. But then there's another side. I mean, only my father is involved in the running of the school, not my mum. But my mother definitely taught me kind of the positive side of things. So to always, you know, never give up, always look for the bright side of things. And so in a way, both of them taught me something.
I have always admired how my mum was able to uh, manage people, um, deal with people regardless of their culture, background, race. It was something that had really struck me because she was really she knew how to approach everyone, and this is something that I have learned from her, and I think this is it has really helped me a lot because of our business, the EFL business. You need to deal with very different people all the time, not only staff, clients as well. So I think this is something that uh, I have learned from her, and I really I think it's a fundamental skill in our job.
How would you define your mission as a leader?
Well, my mission as a school leader, I think the first one would probably be to live up to the reputation that the school already has, and make sure that it continues this way, and to be the leading language school in the area. And then really to strive for the best. So invest in quality, employ the best people, choose the best materials, do everything possible to make sure that you can offer an effective, spendable, high quality experience to your students.
My mission is to support my team, especially in their professional development. I think it takes a lot of investment to manage to put together a team, a strong team of very different people. And in time, I've learned that when you feel rewarded, then you're more productive, and this is what we need as leaders. We need to feel that our team, both teaching and admin, are rewarded. And yeah, I think my mission is to support all this and to carry on my mother's footsteps.
What is your main strength as a leader?
Strength as a leader, I think a lot I found out this year. Being the difficult year that I was, I really I stopped at one point and looked back and how I was doing, realized that I am extremely resilient. So I work well under pressure. I can be very, very focused and very pragmatic, all of it while kind of still looking at the future somehow, and while trying to be creative and positive and supportive towards other members of staff.
Well, maybe someone else should answer this question, but well, I think my strength is that I'm an adaptable, positive type of person. And I always see the bright side of things, and I don't fear change. So I think this is a strength because it has helped me to, go through difficult times, and at the same time try and keep a good balanced atmosphere inside the school. So yes, I think this is my strength.
Would you say you have always had this skill, or is it something you acquired with time and specific training?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a natural skill. Obviously, there is a basis to it, but some things I think I learned through experience. Some things, some specific topics like, I don't know, dealing with change or working under pressure, I kind of came across in conferences and perhaps did some further reading on. And some I even, I don't know, analyze with a therapist. So it's kind of never ending. There's always something you can work on and master. Lots to do so that you can develop both as an individual and as a professional.
I think it is a natural skill. Obviously, has developed through my professional life, but yes, I think I've learned I've learned to adapt a lot, and during I think it has to be natural. It has to be natural. You can't just learn to be positive and adaptable. There has to be something there, and then of course you're influenced by the environment where you work and the people you have around. But it's definitely a natural skill.
What keeps you motivated?
Well, I guess challenges really do keep you kind of on your feet. The fact that you have to be creative and strive for the best, working with people and teams and working a lot on team building is really motivating, can be sometimes quite challenging. And I would say also all the opportunities that you get to develop and train. My school is part of two networks. There's the National Association of Language School, that is ISE, and then there's Equals, which is its European counterpart. Both environments really give you a chance to meet with colleagues and share best practices, exchange ideas and get some training. So all of that really keeps me going, I would say.
Well, every morning when I wake up, I know that I will be facing a new challenge every day. So this really keeps me going when I come to work. But definitely, our job is not only to run a school. We are part of a community. For example, International Health, the International Health World Organization, the ISE Association, and these communities really give you a lot, and they stimulate your. They stimulate the way you manage your work. And I think our business, the EFL market, is a market that's very unstable, and you go through positive and negative moments, and but in each time you need to act. So there is no passive time in our job. If it's a negative moment, then you need to act and rethink things and try and overcome the negative moment. And if it's a positive moment, then you need to act because you need to improve. You need to push for improvement. So we don't really get bored.
In your experience, what is the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs have to face nowadays? Consider finance, team building, dealing with the unknown, procedures, decision making.
Well, all of them can be tricky at times, but I think that the two that I really felt the most, especially in the last year, were dealing with the unknown on one side and the decision making that comes with it on the other. Because it is very difficult to program anything and take any kind of decision when your scenario keeps on changing to the point that something happens on the Friday, and what happens on the Friday will impact what you're doing on the Monday. So definitely I would say those two.
Well, it will definitely be financing. I know this is my weakness. I've always had to rely on other people to help me out with financing. I keep telling myself that I have to do something about it and improve my financial skills, but there's always something else to do. Yeah, I think this is one of my weak point. The others, they come with the job, and you learn to deal with those. And you build up experience. So definitely a weakness I need to work on is financing.
Could you share an example of a real challenge you have had to face?
Well, I don't mean to be kind of repetitive, but I think the whole COVID emergency of this last year has been a massive thing. The weird thing is that it all happened while I was kind of transitioning to my new job. So there I was in my, first 6 months as administrative director of the school, and I was trying to learn, the financing side of things, budgeting, staffing, all of that. And all of a sudden, I find myself trying to, having to close the school, put people on smart working, deal with hours that perhaps were not worked, move all the courses online, have people quarantine. So it was pure chaos in a way. I don't think I was prepared for it. I don't think anyone was, but that in a way helped, if it makes sense.
Oh, the biggest challenge I think I've had to face is when I became the manager of the school. I was a young leader. I was young, and it was dealing with older members of staff. I remember the feeling of awkwardness. I was sure that they wouldn't, they wouldn't look up to me as they did with my mother. So every time I needed to have a conversation with them, I used to rehearse in my office. I used to rehearse the conversation over and over again. And then I would just go up to them and I would sweat away the whole time of the conversation. It was, I remember as if it was one of the most terrible things that I had to do when I started managing the school. But obviously with time things have changed. I've learned how to deal with it, and but it is, I think, the biggest challenge I've had since I became the manager of the school. Obviously the last year has been challenging, but I've never felt alone. Thanks to Isley, we were fighting this fight together. So I felt that the challenge was less challenging than it was. Yeah.
How did you overcome it?
I just kept repeating to myself something that my father kept on telling staff and that was that it is not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. So I really tried to do just that. So release control. I'm a big control freak, so that it took some exercise. Adapt, and just think of how to kind of take things forward and future-proof my school.
Well, I read, I thought, there must be someone else out there in the same situation, and there must be other young leaders out there. So obviously I went on internet, I looked up a few articles, and I found that, that all of them kind of explain how to adapt, uh, adapt the tone of the conversation depending on your audience. And that made me realize that my fear of approaching them was something, that it just, I needed some practice, and I would have been okay. So, I just, doing some research, and it has helped a lot. I know that with experience now, I deal with things differently. I've had to deal with very difficult people along the way, and I think I've learned how to deal with it.
How much time do you invest in your professional development?
Not as much time as I wish. Anyone who runs a school knows that we have no kind of strict timetable, so we can sometimes be working literally 24/7. But especially in the last year, I think I attended webinars, possibly one every 2 to 3 weeks, did a bit of reading. I signed up to a couple of online courses. Everything is very diverse in a way. I chose things that are not always relevant to my actual kind of job role in the school. So anything from social media marketing to coaching to self-growth. So very kind of diverse subjects. I think the main focus was just to upskill whatever the skill is.
I definitely don't spend enough time in investing in my professional development. I know that I should be doing more. Obviously, this last year has taught me a lot because it was thanks to all the training and all the information I got through webinars, and it's thanks to that I have managed to deal with the situation. So I know there's much more that I can do, and hopefully in the near future, I will find a way of doing it. But definitely I don't do enough.
What do you like most about being a leader?
Well, the one thing that I love, I think there is more than one thing. I like the idea of being here kind of for staff, so trying to be supportive, going the extra mile and helping everyone out when necessary. Working with people is a big thing. It can be very challenging at times, but it's very rewarding at the same time. And something I've enjoyed a lot is I like to kind of find strengths in my kind of in my staff. So I try to kind of build some teams together according to what they can do best and where they can get better. And that I like quite a lot, the whole kind of working with people.
Well, I think it's really rewarding to see your clients achieving their goals. It's rewarding to feel that you are a point of reference for your staff. So yeah, I think this is what I really love about my job, but also the fact that I'm exposed to a lot of challenges, and I have the fortune of meeting other people in in the EFL world, and the exchange that we have is something that I gain a lot of pleasure from, and I know that I can then take it back home and share it with my team. So I think this is really rewarding.
If you could only make one wish that could happen in reality in your school, what would it be?
Maybe conquer the world. No, I would definitely like to expand in the future, maybe cross borders. Trieste is in a very convenient geographical area, so it would be easy kind of to step over to Slovenia or Austria. But there is one big dream I always had, even when I was a bit younger, and that was to have an institutional building for the school where everything happens. So all the teaching, the teacher training, conferences, and that's still kind of, something I would like to achieve sometime in the future. This year is the school's 50th anniversary. So I think I have another 50 years to achieve all of this.
Well, I would definitely love to move to a more modern premises, but our central location is very strategic at the moment. So, but a dream I've always had is to try and become an international school. I know it's a dream because there's a lot to do. But I guess this dream comes from the fact that being a community school, your market is very restricted, and so I don't see much possibility of expansion in that way. But I thought that maybe being an international school, that would attract different type of teachers and different type of clients. But as I said, it's a dream. Who knows, maybe one day.
Thank you so much, Rebecca and Natasha, for this lovely interview.
Thank you very much, Palmina, again for inviting us. Good luck, Natasha, with all of your dreams.
Thank you very much, Palmina, and good luck to you too, Rebecca, and we'll see you soon.
There's a quote which says that good parents give their child roots and wings. I wish you that you can continue to fly high and make every dream you have real. Thank you again, and good luck.